Do you like to fish spinnerbait? Do you like to fish an inline spinnerbait? Well, these right here are little gems. Sometimes work really wonders out in open water, and they work really well up north if you're fishing for northern pike, musky, and even smallmouth bass. Even those northern smallmouth bass up there like them. So y'all hang on. We're going to build it. Let's do it. Let's get this build started. So there's several things you're going to need for this build. The first one is you're going to need one of these right here, a little wire shaft. And you can either just get wire or you can get these things already built. And right here is what I'm using, is these little 4-inch pre-made wire shafts. And we've got a little loop in them. Makes it real handy. You get 25 to a pack, so you can make 25 spinners. The second thing you're going to need is you're going to need one of these little deals right here. Well, at least this is the start of it. And it's a little lure body. And here's the ones I like to use, or the ones I'm using. Now these things, they come in all different kinds of shapes, styles, that. So get what you want. But for this build, this right here is what I'm using. And then I've also got these other two little lure bodies right here. And they're real small. And I'm going to put them on there just to add a little extra weight. So what I'm looking for is about 1/4 ounce for my spinner. Other thing you're going to need, you're going to need a blade. You're going to need some clevises, and these are size 1, and you can get brass or nickel or whatever color you want. But I just got brass ones, and there's a whole bunch of them in here, so this is what I'm using. And one additional lure body part here is I like to use these 3 32nd hollow beads between the body in there somewhere. Just adds a little extra flash in that body. And the final little component that I'm using is one of these really tiny bearing swivels. So what that does is that clevis sits on top of that bearing and it just lets it spin a little freer. So these things, they're really tiny, and they help that clevis spin. Now back to this little lure body here. This thing is silver, and I want to paint it. So what I'm going to do, I've got this little piece of wire here that I've got a little hook in. I'm going to take this wire and this little lure body, and I'm just going to stick it on here like this, right here. And then I'm just going to take a pair of needle nose pliers, and I'm just going to put just a little slight bend on that thing so that thing won't fall off there, kind of like that. Then we're going to go down to the garage. We're going to heat it up with a heat gun, and then we're going to powder paint it. We're just going to dip it down into the fluid bed and paint it. Then we're going to stick it in the toaster oven and cure it. And when we're all finished, we're going to end up with a white lure body that's been painted. Powder painted, that is. Now, you could take spray paint and just spray them too, or you could leave them silver, or you can buy them already pre-made. Now, the little final piece to this is you're going to need a dressed treble hook here, and these are pretty easy to make. If you didn't see our last video there on dressing a treble hook, go check that out. That's where this came from, and they're really easy to make, or you can buy them too, but whatever you want to do. You'll need some kind of dressed treble, or you can fish it plain if you want. So really the only tool that you're going to need is you're going to need a pair of these round nose pliers, and maybe a pair of needle nose pliers. We'll see how that goes, but these are really the only tools that you're going to need for this build. So what we're going to do to make this build, and this is real quick, so we're going to take our shaft here, our little opening in here, and we're going to slide our treble hook on there like that right there, and then we're going to take our lure body, we're going to slide that on there like this right here. Now this is where your needle nose pliers kind of might come in handy, is that you can take this right here and squeeze it down, okay, and take your needle nose pliers and kind of pinch all that down there like so. And sometimes this takes just a minute, is taking that and pinching it down, and then taking your pliers. So this really is the hardest part of this, and sometimes you got to take your lure body off to do it, because it just makes it easier. So take that thing and then take your needle nose pliers and pinch them down, kind of like that. Then take your lure body. So we're just going to take this, we're just going to slide it on there. Slide that lure body on down on there. And sometimes it just takes a minute to get both of those wires through there, but you can do it. Just take your time, be careful, don't hook yourself. And then eventually you can get that thing worked down there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the top of the wire is coming out the top of the lure body. So that's kind of what you're looking for, and it's not going to come apart on you like that. So once we get the lure body on there, the next part of this is real easy. We're just going to take our bead and slide it on. Take our lure body here, our brass lure body, and then our other little piece here. And get that to go on there kind of like that. And here's our little tiny bearing. And don't lose that thing. And this one might be the hardest one to get on because it's so small. Yep, see? There we go, like that. So there is all of our lure bodies assembled onto our shaft of our inline spinnerbait. So now the next thing to do is take this clevis and hook our blade on it like that, and then we're just going to put that on there like that. Make sure you got it all lined up and everything. And one thing I like to do, and the reason I use all of these extra pieces here, is I like my blade to come right to the top of where my hook eye is. So I don't want my blade interfering with my hook. I want it to spin around this, kind of like this right here, and I don't want it to be getting caught up in the hook. So there we go. There's our length that I like to get the blade. All right, we got one more step, and that's to put a loop in the top here, and that's real easy. To make the loop, we're just going to use our round nose pliers here and use a size that'll make the loop that you want. So I'm going to use a small pair. If I use these big pair here, you can see the loop would be a lot bigger on this Nipix brand than these smaller ones. So we're going to use the smaller ones. And really, to do this, just find where you want to make your loop. And I like to come up just a little bit, just to give a little bit of room at the top. And then you'll hold that on there. And with these, they've got a nesting, so you can just kind of squeeze it a little bit, and it's going to start putting a little bend in it. Now, to make the loop kind of symmetrical, after you do that, you want to come over here and just bend that out just a little bit, kind of like this right here, okay? And then we're just going to take our pliers, and we're going to hold it right there, and we're going to bend. Do this to where you can see it. So once we get our bend in there, we're just going to take this and we're going to pull it on around. And doing this on camera is sometimes kind of hard. So there we go. Kind of got a loop in there. You're just going to finish it up by pulling it up there. Kind of like that right there. And we've got the loop in there. Now this is where the needle nose pliers come in handy. I like to just take the loop and hold the loop like that. Take my wire and bend it around almost one complete turn. Kind of like that right there. And then to straighten this out a little bit where we bent it a little bit, I'm just going to take this and bend it back where we've got a nice loop in there. And then really, you could use your needle nose pliers, but I like to take a pair of flush cutters here and just come in here and snip the wire off and save this piece. Because when you make these, or you want to go to paint these things right here with the loop in it, that little extra piece right there comes in real handy to do that. So save those and paint your lure bodies with that. And then sometimes if there's just a little burr right here, I'll try to take my needle nose pliers and just kind of bend that down just a little bit so I don't have a sharp edge on that right there. And then I'll just kind of straighten this loop out a little bit, make it pretty. Right there we go. And there's our loop. And our inline spinner is done. You're ready to go fishing. So thanks for stopping by. I'm Rodney with eFishin. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch y'all out on the lake next time. We're out.